My name is Daniel Reyes, and 3 months ago I almost died because someone wanted to prove a point. Not because of an accident. Not because of illness. Not even because of fate. Because of an HOA. If you've never lived under a homeowners association, consider yourself lucky. The one in our gated community outside Phoenix was run like a small dictatorship. And at the center of it stood one woman, Linda Caldwell, president of the Silver Ridge Estates HOA, self-appointed guardian of property values, professional nightmare. I wasn't always tethered to machines. 6 months earlier, I had been an electrical engineer working on backup grid systems for hospitals across Arizona. Irony has a twisted sense of humor. A drunk driver ran a red light and crushed the driver's side of my truck. I survived. My lungs didn't recover fully. Complications spiraled. Infections followed. Eventually, I developed acute respiratory failure. After weeks in the hospital, my doctors gave me 2 choices: stay in the ICU indefinitely, or create a monitored ICU room at home. My insurance approved a specialized setup: oxygen concentrators, ventilator backup, cardiac monitoring, battery redundancy, and a medical-grade power stabilization system. I required continuous electricity. Continuous. No interruptions. The installation required an exterior backup generator, a hospital-grade diesel unit enclosed in a sound-dampening case. It was legal, permitted, and medically certified. It was also visible. And that's when Linda noticed. The first letter arrived on a Tuesday. Unauthorized exterior mechanical structure. Immediate removal required. My wife Sophia laughed when she read it. Daniel, it's a medical generator. It's literally keeping you alive. We submitted documentation. Physician statements, ADA compliance form, city permits approvals. 2 days later, Linda knocked on our door. She didn't come alone. She brought a clipboard, and that smile, the kind that stretches thin over entitlement. I understand you're going through something, she said, peering past Sophia to where I lay in my adjustable hospital bed in the living room. This is temporary, Sophia replied. He needs it. Linda's eyes scanned the equipment like it offended her personally. The board has determined the generator is unsightly and violates Section 4B regarding exterior mechanical equipment visibility. It's enclosed, Sophia said. It hums. It's medical. Linda tilted her head. We all have rules. I spoke up, my voice thin through the oxygen mask. If the power goes out, I stop breathing. Silence hung for half a second. Then she said the words I'll never forget. Perhaps you should consider a facility better equipped for your needs. A facility. She meant a hospital. She meant not here. 3 weeks later, it happened. The power died. Not flickered. Not brownout. Dead. Machines beeped in angry red tones. Backup battery kicked in instantly, 30-minute reserve. Sophia shot upright. What's happening? I knew. The grid in our area was stable. I had worked on it myself. This wasn't a city outage. This was localized. Sophia grabbed her phone and called the power company. There's no outage reported in your area, the representative said. My backup battery ticked down to 26 minutes. Sophia ran outside. What she found made her blood run cold. Our exterior power cut off. The HOA-controlled secondary disconnect panel installed years earlier for community load management had been switched off and padlocked. Padlocked. With an HOA tag. Battery. 18 minutes. I felt the oxygen pressure begin to fluctuate. Breathing through compromised lungs feels like drowning slowly. Panic accelerates oxygen demand. Oxygen demand accelerates failure. A roar. Not sirens. Engines. Multiple. Headlights flooded the street. And that's when everything changed. 6 heavy-duty utility trucks turned onto Silver Ridge Drive like an invasion force. Emblazoned on their sides, Southwest Critical Infrastructure Services, the company I had worked for before my accident. My former boss, Marcus Hill, had gotten Sophia's text when the power dropped. She'd messaged him out of desperation. Marcus didn't hesitate. He called every on-call technician within 20 miles. He called the emergency grid supervisor. He called the police. And then he rolled in with a mobile generator convoy typically reserved for hospital disasters. Within minutes, a police cruiser blocked the street. Fire department assessed medical status. Technicians cut the HOA padlock. Trailer-mounted generator was deployed directly in our driveway. Power restored. Full stabilization. Oxygen normalized. I could breathe again. But outside, the real show was just beginning. Linda emerged from her house in a silk robe, furious at the noise. "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded. Marcus didn't raise his voice. "Who authorized locking a medical power supply?" Linda blinked. "The HOA has full authority over." A police officer interrupted her. "Ma'am, did you authorize tampering with a medically required electrical system?" It was a rules enforcement matter. The officer's expression hardened. "You may have just committed felony reckless endangerment." Her face drained of color. Neighbors had gathered. Phones were recording. The generator trucks, massive, industrial, loud, lined the street like a parade of accountability. And because the emergency deployment required temporary grid isolation for safety, the entire HOA block experienced controlled rolling power interruptions for the next 6 hours, including Linda's house. Irony. HOA president accused of cutting power to ICU patient. The footage of generator trucks surrounding her pristine cul-de-sac went viral. Turns out, she personally ordered the disconnect. She ignored medical exemption documentation. She instructed maintenance to apply a lock. The HOA board members quickly distanced themselves. Emergency court injunction filed. ADA violation investigation opened. Civil lawsuit initiated. Criminal charges pending. For the next 2 weeks, Southwest Critical Infrastructure parked 2 backup generators on our street permanently while legal matters were sorted. Day and night. Security personnel present. Technicians rotating shifts. Utility crews monitoring lines. Silver Ridge Estates looked less like a gated luxury community and more like a disaster response zone. Property values plummeted overnight. Buyers backed out. Real estate listings stalled. And every time a potential buyer asked why industrial generators were humming at Lot 14, someone would answer, "Because the HOA president tried to shut off a man's life support." Linda resigned within 10 days. But resignation didn't stop legal consequences. She was charged with reckless endangerment, criminal tampering, ADA discrimination violations. Her attorney argued it was a misunderstanding of authority. The prosecutor disagreed. When the security footage of her instructing maintenance to shut it off until they comply played in court, the courtroom went silent. She avoided prison with a plea deal. But she lost her HOA position, her savings in legal fees, her reputation, her home, eventually sold to cover settlements. The HOA was forced to amend bylaws. Medical exemptions protected. Power systems exempt from aesthetic review. External oversight added. Here's the part no one expected. 3 months after the incident, Silver Ridge Estates experienced a severe summer heat grid overload. Transformers blew. Entire sections lost power for 18 hours. Except one house. Mine. Because Southwest Critical Infrastructure had permanently upgraded my home into a microgrid pilot system. When the neighborhood went dark, our house stayed lit. Air conditioning humming. Lights glowing. Medical systems stable. And after everything, Sophia looked at me and said, "Should we run extension cords?" I smiled behind my oxygen mask. We did more than that. We invited elderly neighbors inside, charged phones, shared cold drinks, let kids cool off. Even the families who once supported Linda, because survival changes you. Bitterness suffocates. Breathing, real breathing, is better. One evening, weeks later, there was a knock. I expected a neighbor. Instead, it was Linda.
No silk robe. No clipboard.
No authority. Just a woman who looked smaller than before. I wanted to say, I was wrong. Silence. "You almost killed me," I said calmly. Tears filled her eyes. "I know." She didn't ask for forgiveness. She just nodded and walked away. Sometimes karma isn't explosive. Sometimes it's quiet. I'm still on oxygen. Still fighting. But I'm alive. Because when someone tried to pull the plug on me over aesthetics, an entire convoy showed up. Not just with generators, but with proof that humanity is louder than petty power. And every time I hear that low steady hum outside, it doesn't sound like machinery. It sounds like justice.